Hello everyone and welcome to the Theimpactplay, impacting more than just gaming. I'm your host, Muhammad, otherwise known as It's Yagu. We are your one-stop news shop for the latest and greatest across gaming, tech, entertainment, sports, and music. Plus, we also amplifying voices from those respective fields and having their stories told here on Theimpactplay. Your support keeps the lights running and keeps the content rolling. You can support us over at anchor.fm/Theimpactplay, where tier 2 supporters and above have exclusive access to the post show, getting the show ad free, and more. Or you can even support us by using our credit code at Theimpactplay. We are epic partners. Every purchase you make within the Epic Store, whether it be Right Click, Fortnite, and more, no matter where you play, no matter where you play, as long as you use our credit code, whether you're buying any V-Bucks or what have you. We do get a commission, and this will help support the show in a brand new way, and no extra cost to you. This episode of Theimpactplay is sponsored by Audible. And this is the Theimpactplay's Reviewcast, episode 245, where we are reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So stay tuned and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, so before we get into this will be a time exclusive for our tier 2 supporters and above, but as an extra added bonus, we are streaming this live exclusively to our supporters. But nonetheless, I guess let's get into this, folks. Just keep in mind that there will definitely be spoilers in this review cast. But before we get into that, you can sign up for your free 30-day trial and immediately get access to 1 credit. And if you have Amazon Prime, you get access to 2 credits. This is great for any premium title. Simply go to audibletrial.com/Theimpactplay. Once again, the URL is audibletrial.com/Theimpactplay. Alrighty, folks, I guess let's get into this review. And yeah. But nonetheless, before we get into this, this will be a time exclusive for our Patreon, for our tier 2 supporters and above. Everyone else, this will be available later on youtube.com/Theimpactplay, as well as your favorite podcast platform. But nonetheless, I guess let's get right into it, folks, without further delay. I had the opportunity of watching Wakanda Forever last night. Of course, for a review for you folks, for reviewing it here on the Theimpactplay. So I guess we'll get into this non-spoiler review first, and then the second part of this review will include the spoilers for those of you interested in that content. So nonetheless, we'll try to keep it as the spoilers as minimal as possible in this first part review. But yeah, overall, the movie was phenomenal. And we all know that Chadwick Boseman, the actor behind the original Black Panther, or should I say the second Black Panther, that we're aware of, he died of cancer. And his death was, I guess, integrated into this film. And we'll talk about that once we talk about the spoilers as well. We'll talk more on that. But may he rest in peace. And there was also a nice bit at the end of the film where it was as more of a in memory of him, of his passing. But nonetheless, I guess let's get into it, folks. Overall, like I said, the movie was phenomenal. Like, I was really into it since the get-go. And if you guys, I guess, I'm not gonna spoil it compared to the trailers. I'll leave that towards the second half of this review. But all in all, I guess let's go. We can actually say this is in the official storyline of the movie. So, Queen Ramonda, Shuri M'Baku, Okoye, and Dora Delahi fight to protect the kingdom of Wakanda from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandians strive to embrace their new chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of war dog Nakia, Everett Ross, and forge a new path for their nation. So, essentially, there's a new power at play. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. There's a new power in play. Storyline, told you, the story was phenomenal. Literally. It didn't raise too much. Actually, it did. Towards the beginning of the film, it raised some questions, but then that was answered toward throughout the entirety of the film. Also, these actors played their roles phenomenally well. So we have Neymar made his appearance. We'll just get into the cast. That's it. Neymar was played by, what's his name? By Tanach Horta. And who else was roles good? Like literally all the usual faces of like Panther. So we have Letitia Wright as Shuri. We have Angela Bassett as Ramonda. Lupita, I don't want to botch this, Nyong'o as Nakia, and all the other cast, they were phenomenal. Like they played their roles really, really well. And also not just that, the music that was done for this film, it just meshed up perfectly. It was in sync with the film, especially towards the end where we, as the credits were rolling, Rihanna's song. What was her song that we talked about that on last week's show? I don't remember. I'm botching on it. Let me look that up real quick. Lift Me Up. Lift Me Up. Like that song was phenomenal. But yeah. I guess as a rating, oh, and before I get into the rating, folks, the review, not the review, the rating. Uh, there's only one mid credit scene. There's not a post credit scene. So as the initial credits roll, that's when we're gonna see like a continuation of the last scene before the first credits rolled. Then you don't see a continuation, and then a little surprise for you folks. Otherwise, don't stick around towards the very end where we usually get like a little clip of what's to come. We didn't get that in this film. As a rating, I'm thinking about giving it a 4.5. Like literally, the film was phenomenal. Okay, actually, should I give it a 5? It's between a 4.5 and a 5. Like it was really done really, really well. Wow. All right. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I didn't think I don't think I would give like a film a 5 out of 5. But it was done really, really well. Like the acting, the story, the action scenes, and combining or the introduction of new characters into this film. That's all I'm gonna say for this first part. So we're gonna give it a 5 out of 5 on the Theimpactplay scale. As far as IMDb's rating, we're gonna of course give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a 4-star rating. Let's see. And I also watched it in IMAX as well, as a heads up. Oh, okay. The weekend domestic did well. I did about 200,000 at the box office. Load, so I can rate it. Oh, here it is. 10 out of 10. Rate. There we go. Our rating has been added. All right. I guess that's it for the first half of the review, folks. So I guess if you guys only want to see this part of it, or you guys want to enjoy this part, please do so. Please keep in mind that we're going to go into the second half of the review where there will definitely be spoilers. So please keep that in mind if you guys don't want to be spoiled, because I know the film has only been out for the weekend. You could go ahead and pause this or come back to this review and enjoy our spoiler review as well. Alrighty, folks, so welcome to your second half of the review cast for Black Panther Wakanda, where we will include spoilers in this part. Nonetheless, please keep in mind there's going to be a spoiler warning, of course. And I guess if you guys don't want to be spoiled, because the film has barely been out just for the weekend, please pause this and come back to it later if you do not want to be spoiled. But nonetheless, let's get right into it, folks. So, like I said earlier, the film was phenomenal. It was done really well. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on the Theimpactplay scale. So we know that Chadwick Boseman died of cancer. Not too long ago, he left this world, and they made that known. They integrated that into this film. So the way they did it was he died of an illness, kind of what he actually did in real life, and Shuri, which is his sister in the film, was trying to save him because she's gifted. She creates suits, weapons, technology, what have you. But unfortunately, he was unable to be saved, and he passed into the next room. And the rising power that I mentioned in the first half is Namor, which is he actually played his role really, really well. I'm like, whoa. And then the way the way they were introducing him, they also played some background music as well, some Hispanic music. I'm like, wow. That's a great time for minorities, because there's somebody that's coming from similar backgrounds in an MCU film and a big budget franchise. So I'm like, wow, that's phenomenal. But I guess let's get it. Oh, let me pull up his actor real quick, because I actually closed it earlier. I don't know why. Let's see. Oh, Black Panther. Here we go. Okay, so Namor was played by Tenoch Huerta, and he actually was living for like centuries as well, which we found out at the start of when Shuri was kidnapped, being introduced into their underground or undersea city. So the way it happened was, the way Namor was introduced was, it was a little village that was being that they were starving from food, water, disease, what have you. So the shaman is what they called it, had a vision where he swam into the sea, saw this glowing blue herb that was sprouted from vibranium. So he drank it, and then literally all of the village, almost all the village drank that same thing, and then there was just one woman that was pregnant. I didn't want to take it at risk of the baby, affecting the baby in a way that was, I guess, that she didn't want to affect her pregnancy negatively. But at the end, she took it, and then they promised her that once that your child, when it's born, it'll be our first king. So when they grew, it seemed like they were unconscious, and then when they got back up, they turned blue, and their ability to breathe air on the land was taken away. But they were able. The gift that they were given was they were able to breathe, take oxygen from the ocean. So they I guess built a civilization underwater, which is Neymar the Marvel version of DC's Aquaman. Right? It was done like phenomenal. When Neymar was born, he was the firstborn of the sea. and then he was born with winged feet, and he was able to breathe both underwater and on land as well. So he was able to live on both, the sea and land. So of course, his mom eventually passed away. He wanted to be buried on land, and then what they saw when they came back out of on the land for being gone for too long was the introduction of slavery. Unfortunately, so they didn't take that lightly. They killed everybody that was there, that took over their village, and buried his mom. They went back to living in the sea. But there came a time where he as he grew older, he came onto the Wakandan land without being noticing, of course, because he's on the water, so he could swim phenomenally well. Once he did that, he gave Wakanda a decision: either give me the scientist that created the drill that the CIA used to detect vibranium underwater, or I will consider Wakanda an enemy. So they ended up finding that scientist, and who that scientist was a young girl named Riri Williams, which I was excited for. Her introduction in the MCU. I was waiting for that because I'm waiting for her TV series Ironheart, but they introduced her in an actual MCU film, which I was definitely excited for. So they introduced Ironheart, Riri Williams, or should I say the next Iron Man. And so Shuri and what's her name? Nikia went to Chicago to help bring her to Wakanda for her safety, because Namor wanted her killed. But so I'm gonna talk about a little bit of what happened, because this is like these little bits is gonna shape up of to the scene that I was hyped for. So the as Shuri and Nikia made their way inland in the United States, they were being watched by the CIA and what have you. So they were surrounded into the building where Riri had her lab. And what was she building? Her own Iron Man suit. So it wasn't as fully functional like an Iron Man suit with the helmet and everything, but it was just a suit with a pair of goggles, which is her first her Mark One, I guess you could say. How they were able to escape, but then as they were escaping, they were met with Neymar's army, I guess you could say. So they ended up taking Riri and Shuri on the water with them, and of course Ross was there as well, but he ended up he was being watched like a hawk, because he found these communication beats, Shuri's communication beats, I should say, and then they were bugged, which he was made aware. Then he was communicating with Wakanda about the status and what have you of the investigation. Nonetheless, the Queen sent up her daughter-in-law. She ended up leaving Wakanda like 7 years ago to help retrieve and bring and rescue Shuri and Riri. She ended up doing that, which ended up being that not the integration. What's that word I'm looking for? The direct cause for the war between Namor and Wakanda to begin, and and as it was happening, sh- uh, Shuri, Shuri, what she ended up creating because and the in order to so they assumed that the Black Panther died because the plants that gave the Black Panther their ability was destroyed by the most recent Black Panther, which was played by Michael B. Jordan. So at the end of the day, she ended up recreating uh, the recreating that herb, and she drank it herself. So it was presumed that she would be the next Black Panther, but I knew the rumors were true, but I felt like because like everybody was saying it's gonna be the next Black Panther was gonna be Shuri. I'm like, wait a minute. If everybody's saying it's gonna be Shuri, why should it not be Shuri? But I definitely I agree with them. But ended up being Shuri. She drank the herb, and she was, and it took her to the ancestral plane. But who she met there, was somebody she never would think. It was her cousin, played by Michael B. Jordan. He was in her vision. And then he asked her, "Are you gonna be go to the cause like your brother, or are you gonna be take care of whatever you have to do like me?" "Oh, I'd never be like you," but she ended up being a hybrid of both of her brother and her cousin. So, fast forward, she gained the ability of the Black Panther, and then she created her own version of the suit. And then, remember in the last film where she had these blasters, as Thanos was made his arrival into Wakanda, she integrated those blasters into her suit, and I knew it was from that first film. But nonetheless, fast forward, as Namor made his second arrival into Wakanda to declare war, Riri made her actual suit of armor, which was phenomenal. Once I saw it, I'm like, yes! We finally see the Ironheart armor. Fast forward. Not only that, I wanted to bring this as well, that Shuri ends up creating like these suits that give phenomenal strength, speed, endurance, and what have you. She gave one to Nakia, and one to her sister, Ram. What's her name? Anika. I think she wore the second suit, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, fast forward. She fast forward. Shuri ended up defeating Namor, but she held back killing him. And she used these exact words: "Vengeance has consumed us both." She remembered when Namor was introducing her to her people, to her village, and of course her mother's words and what have you. And even her mother came into her vision as well, like, show him who you are. So she did, and then they ended up stopping the war between them. They formed an alliance. Fast forward towards the end, where Shuri was able to finally let go of her brother. She did a ceremony which her mother used to do. Oh no! Also, I forgot to mention that earlier. As the second war began between Namor and Wakanda, the queen ended up passing as well. And then she risked her life to save Riri's as well. So, of course, Shuri is the next in line, I guess you could say, the next person in charge. And fast forward towards the end, so she was able to finally let go to burn, I guess, like his clothing or whatever, as to finally let go. And then as she did that, she did that in Haiti, where her sister-in-law was, where she went to, when she left Wakanda over about 7 years ago. She ended up living there, teaching kids, building a life of her own, and not only that. And the mid credit scene is where it continues. That scene where where Shuri meets her nephew, or named after her brother T'Challa, which is his actual name, but he has like I guess that's more of a hidden name, so people will not know who he is. I forget what it was. Let me see. Let me look into that real quick. Mid credit scene. Let me see. Ba ba ba. A young boy named Passant. And his actual name is T'Challa, of course, named after his father. And so Nick Nakia is his mother. All right, so that's about it. But this is definitely a must watch. Like, you guys watch it standard, or I would definitely recommend watching it in IMAX for the best experience. I definitely wouldn't recommend it for real 3D because I've done that a couple of times and it's not the best experience. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for taking your time to listen or consume this review cast wherever you are, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you are. So no matter where you listen to us, where you consume our content, be sure to leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know in the comments what are your thoughts. But once this timed exclusivity window of release 24 hours expires, this will be available to everyone else on youtube.com/Theimpactplay, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. And before we go, you can send us reading mail. You have 3 ways to do so: via email to readingmail@theimpactplay.com, via Discord, even via a voice note by leaving a voice note over at the.fm/Theimpactplay, where your feedback or your reading mail will be played live or even read live here on the show. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one, and until next time, folks.